back to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets. I'm your host, TJ Mitchell, here to go over the 3-game Monday slate. Hopefully you guys enjoyed Saturday's bonus coverage. I think I was pretty successful. I know you normally remember the bets that worked and forget about the ones that didn't. I was really trying, and I sent some messages trying to get a little bit more, content out there as far as props were concerned, being as it was the first day in New York on Saturday. There were just no props in New York for NHL other than goals. There were some games that only had points. There were some games that didn't have points and only had goals. And there was nothing besides point and goal. And I didn't really want to limit myself for no reason, especially because I talked to friends in other states that have legal sports gambling on the mobile apps, and they said there were actually more props available for the first time ever. I know in Pennsylvania, for example, they could bet power play points and all these other kind of fun, unique things. So I kind of felt really weird only giving advice or picks for things that, weren't really relevant or not, fully encompassing of everything that was being offered. So I didn't post much on my Twitter feed. And I also forgot to post my underdog picks, which actually hit. And the other thing I just wanted to go over before we get started with the 3-game slate is my initial thoughts on the 3 apps. So DraftKings, easiest to use, the best display, just very easy to navigate through. And it's probably my favorite for those reasons. But like I said, there wasn't any really fun NHL props like they do for all the other sports. So I'm hoping to get that back because I can't even see it anymore in this state. Like I can't find the shot props. They're just not there. FanDuel had nothing. I don't love navigating through that app. It's just kind of clunky. Finding things is difficult. It's like they hide things from you. I don't know why they do that. There were no goal props. There was nothing. I don't know why. I don't think they had any boosts or they had nothing unique for hockey at all. It was just straight lines and alternate spreads and stuff like that. I hope that, again, it feels like maybe it was nerfed because of their expectations, which we'll get to the last app that I used, which was Caesars, which crashed 3 times. It's not incredibly interactive and it always seems to log you off because they were just having a lot of technical issues, but they gave us a ton of boosted props, some really fun ones. I bet the Barkov to score and Panthers to win. Unfortunately, that didn't hit. I also had Verhaeghe to score and Panthers to win, which did hit. But they had some really cool things. So if you went into their goal props, you could also pick the team to win with the score. And it actually gave it a nice boost. I kind of tested it out with same game parlays on other sites. So if you're gambling at all with a lot of, every night, you really are doing yourself a disservice by not checking out all the offerings, because they had offers that were just better on Caesars in general. I put more money on the line, I guess, in Caesars in general. I had a few hits, nothing crazy, couple goals. I didn't hit any of my big things. I had a pretty big parlay that just didn't quite get there. It had the Verhaeghe goal, but it had Kakko scoring and the Rangers winning. Tough break there, but that was my initial thoughts. I like DraftKings the most. They're kind of the pseudo sponsor of this. I normally just use their stuff in general. FanDuel was the worst because they just didn't give us anything. I do hope that they change that. And I really hope that going forward, I'll be able to actually go through all these props and have a little bit more fun with it. But we'll get right into the slate now. Boston at Washington is our first game on the docket. It's a 5.5 over under. It's basically a pick 'em right now with Washington a slight favorite. Boston, coming out of the break, has been really good. They just beat Tampa in a, I would say, closer game as far as the numbers are concerned than the score ended up being. Pastrnak was electric. I had him to outshoot Stamkos +1 shot for Stamkos, and he crushed him, which was awesome. He's back. He still wasn't with Bergeron and Marchand. But I think that doesn't really do him a massive disservice because Taylor Hall's really turned into a distributor. Once a guy that we were taking at 2.5, 3 shots on goal, no longer. So I think it's just fine to play Pasta. He's kind of soloable. The McAvoy was out that last game. We still don't know. They didn't really do anything on Sunday to give us any indication of what would happen moving forward. But irregardless, I think this game is pretty much a true pick-em. I think that if you're going to play Boston on DraftKings, you're probably putting Pastrnak in. He had 3 shots get blocked, 1 missed the net, 2 goals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shot attempts, 7 on net. Guy was all over the ice. I think that's going to continue. I think he's going to be somewhat back without a doubt. And this game kind of sets up nicely to, if you are going to play or stack it on DraftKings, which is not my favorite by any stretch. you really are, exactly what plays to take, but they come at a cost. As far as props are concerned, I do like kind of getting a bit unique with the props, as I've already kind of mentioned. I like the rivals that you get on underdogs. I like looking at that, comparing them to Prize Picks, comparing them to Monkey Knife Fight, if that's something you're into, kind of looking at all of them. And I think that's where you get the biggest edge as far as betting in general. But hockey seems to have a lot of variation, especially with save props. I've seen them vary between 3 and 4 different saves, and it's like, that's a lot. That's a pretty big margin. So with all that being said, this game in general, I think I would just side with the Bruins at plus money because they've been really good, but their goaltending is always the question mark. And with Olmark having that nice game against Tampa where he looked pretty sound, but like I said, Boston kind of outplayed him. Swayman's been good enough to where I'm okay with it. Washington, I don't know if I love them with all the injuries. And right now, looking at the lineup as we're expecting it, I can't really see them being a smash lock button by any. I'm just not going to do it. So if they get Oshie back, if they get Backstrom back, if they get all those guys back, it might change my tune. I think it is truly a pick 'em. But right now with all the injuries, I'm just going to side with Boston. I think they have a better chance of getting McAvoy back. We don't know right now. And DraftKings is telling me he's out, but that's still for Saturday. I think he could be back, and that would really boost the defense even more against a really tough Washington team. And they'll just blanket Ovechkin with McAvoy. So I don't like the over-under at all. I'm not touching it. 5.5 seems spot on. I think a nice 2-3 game. You're just praying for an empty net. So take whatever you want there. I'm not going to tout it. The next game we have is Seattle as absolutely massive underdogs at Colorado. I would honestly, I'm not going to, I don't know. If I have a couple beers on Monday night, I might end up talking myself into betting Seattle at plus 310 because it's an absolutely massive spread. Seattle hasn't played in a long time. They're getting healthy again. I think that there's a reason to believe they could find a way to pull this out. They're going to be, like I said, they're getting guys back off the COVID list. Their practice looks pretty normal. Johansson, McCann, Eberle, Donato, Geeky, Appleton. I guess they're still missing. Oh my God, totally blanking. Schwartz, but they returned Lazon, so they're probably pretty much back defensively. And I just think there's positive regression in their goaltender's future. So yeah, it's really tough to take because it's Seattle, who's been terrible, against Colorado, who is probably the projected cup winner. But any given night, anything can happen in the NHL. Plus 310 is a ton. No one's going to bet Colorado at minus 380. Colorado just came off of a really nice comeback win where they were getting trounced by Toronto and they just came all the way back and won. I mean, yeah, Colorado's the best team in the league. McKinnon had 50 shots on net. I mean, let's look, actually. I want to know the exact number that he put on net. 12 shots on goal last game, 8 before that. So 20 shots on goal in his past 2, 6 points in his last 2. The guy's an absolute electric factory, but Seattle has been decent at limiting teams' offensive upside. Even their problem is they just have no goaltending, and Grubauer has been an absolute train wreck for them. So even though that they're giving less expected goal, I mean, they got to be the worst team as far as saves above expected. I mean, it's pretty bad in net there, but I think they could get it back on track. No one's going to touch the Colorado side. I can't imagine laying any money on 380. That just seems like an absolute waste of time. I think I'd rather just bet the under and bet Seattle. If you could same game parlay that together, that is where I would think to put any money and try to capture all the upside that you can get while you're betting, rather than playing it safe. I think I'd rather do that. You could definitely do that. So same game parlay, this might be a perfect spot to do it. Say under, Seattle actually does shut down that top line with whatever I think they have some good defense. They have fine defensive players at least. You take the money line on them and you pick one of the Seattle Kraken to score. I think the best probable bet is getting crazy with a Donato. He was their best expected goals guy last time out. He's on the, I don't know. He's probably on the third line. I'm going to think about it. I think there's one guy. I mean, McCann would probably be the easiest bet there. I mean, it's just, yeah, I think that would be the best way of doing this. Going for all the upside in the world, going for absolute gold rather than playing it safe here is probably more fun. I wouldn't put the house on it, but that's the way I would look at this game. Is you have a chance to make an absolute killing on a couple decently fine events. Like even at like the worst projection models, you're talking about Colorado having like a 70% chance of winning. That means in 30%, 3 out of 10 games, 3 out of 10, flips of a coin. That's not a good analogy. Three out of 10 attempts, Seattle wins this game. The under hits on probably 8 of 10 of those. It's like all of that coming together in my mind is making me think I could either capture a ton of money here or I just fade this game entirely. And yeah, like, can you still bet props in this? Absolutely. You could totally take McKinnon's shot prop. Like he's absolutely smashing beyond all belief. And if Seattle's winning, he'll probably shoot even more. So that's kind of the way I would think about it, is just game script through this and look if you want to capture all that upside. If not, I wouldn't touch it. There's just no point in betting any money on Colorado to win a game that they're obviously heavily favored in. So yeah, that's a ton on that game. That probably most people are just going to look at and say, no thanks. The last game is the Rangers at the Kings. Now, the model that I use, courtesy of Fake Moods, has LA as the actual highest expected goal kind of index here. Like they actually have been playing super duper well. They've been just like really good. And it probably, it does take into account kind of a lot of recency. And the last game for LA, I retweeted it on the Morning's podcast account. The numbers were, I mean, they blew the, like I liked the Kings. I remember saying like, I like the Kings a lot, but I was hoping the line wouldn't be this bad. They had double the shots, 4-0 win. I mean, they beat them down in every capacity. The Rangers are a better team. The Rangers will return Artemi Panarin. They'll be back to the normal kind of, running the top 2 lines a whole bunch with Golan at coach. I think this game is very close to the coin flip that DraftKings is saying, or DraftKings Sportsbook is telling us. They're both -10, minus 110. So yeah, I totally think that it's incredibly viable. I'm going to take the Kings here just because of what the numbers are telling me. The way they've been playing, I think they find a way to get it done. The Rangers have been on the West Coast forever. They had a game get canceled, but they've been on that West Coast for a long, long time. And the Kings are even going to return Kaliev. They're going to get a little bit healthier. I'm all in on it. Now, we don't get Martin Furk, who had been kind of the golden shot, the score prop at +400. He was first power play, first line. He is being sent back down. We didn't get a full skate from them, but he's being loaned to the taxi squad. Turcotte is being called up. Kaliev was already there. Turcotte's the one that was activated. So yeah, I like the Kings here in general. I think if you're taking a coin flip bet on them, I think you take it. And again, if you're going to look into a same game parlay, I probably side with just saying, man, the over under 5.5 now. I think you just don't touch that 5.5. Take the Kings. There's really no other big news or notes here. All of the guys that you would expect to be the better to score guys are Arvidsson, probably, I'd say more often than not, the best take. Kaliev was awesome in their last game. He was actually their highest expected goals player. He didn't score, but he was pretty solid. Other than that, this game doesn't have a ton on the table other than the return of Artemi Panarin. So I think with all that being said, I'll probably get you on out of here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a slip tomorrow that has the Kraken winning. I'm going to put it into the world. And if it hits, we're going to celebrate. And you know what? I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm not saying it's a good bet. I'm saying that 3 out of 10 times it might hit. But on those 3 out of 10 times, you're making way more money. I mean, think about Jacksonville beating Indy. No one thought that was going to happen. People that place that bet are just crushing it, right? I mean, and that is even more out of the realm of possibility of happening. This is a fun bet. I'm going to do it. I'm going to post it on Twitter. People are going to call me crazy. And if it hits, we're going to celebrate. If it doesn't hit, I'm going to be like, well, I told you, like, it might not hit. So I'm going to put money on the game on it. I'm going to put like $25 on a game parlay here. So talk to you guys soon. Hopefully we get more props, and I will talk to you on Friday. And I'm going to go over a single game parlay props, stuff like that, and a little more detail. I'm going to get a week behind me to kind of look at it and play with it a little bit more. And then I'm going to do a video. Talk to you soon.